without saying, holy cows, Batman. Okay. Well, whoever's coming on live with me today, if you've seen this, then go ahead and move on to the next one and watch some guys in probably Pakistan fix a, what would they be fixing? Like, what is the interesting ones? Oh, like a generator or something, or a tire or something like that. Those are fun to watch. This is another thing. It's about ribbon mics, and I'm about to show you a very cool collection. When I've done these live videos, I've met some great people from Guam all the way to the UK, to Spain, South America, Thailand, and the United States, and even Arkansas. So I love coming online and just kind of checking it out. Some of this is, I can't control. I've done these videos before, and I'll just say there's always a thing like practicing law, practicing physician. I'm a practicing ribbon practitioner, and I'm doing my best to do very cool stuff with cool mics. But that's that thing like when you go to the doctors and he's like, hey, sorry, we're recalling your hip. We'll get it next time. Or when you lose your lawyer says, hey, man, we'll get it on the back end. Don't worry about that, man. We're going to refile this. So they're practicing law, practicing physician, and I'm practicing, I don't know what this is called, ribbon technology. I don't know. But anyways, I have my own ribbon mic company. It's called OGMC. And I'm about to show you some really cool rare mics that are awesome. Paul from the UK had sent these over. We've been talking for a few weeks about making this happen, and he sent them to me. It's definitely a lot to handle, and some of them are really, really difficult to work on. But because I've worked on these before, and I've done some of the rarest. I mean, if you look back at some of my videos, I did one of the oldest ribbons. It was a Telefunken. It's really interesting because it was a Telefunken ribbon mic. It was called like Elan or Elan something, which was interesting because it was a ribbon. And I don't know if that was pre-RCA, but it was kind of funny that Telefunken, who are known for their tube microphones, started with some ribbon stuff. And it looks like RCA kind of went with it and made their own world and blah, blah, blah. Anyway, so I have something actually cool to show you if whoever's watching this. I'm always talking about lollipops. Well, this one came up and I've already worked on it. It's done. And this is a Cascade Fathead. One of the best lollipops you can get. Super heavy duty, well made. I'm going to be selling this one. If someone wants to get in contact with me, my information's in the description. This one is going to be $600, and it's within the U.S. I will ship it to you for free, and I will insure it for $600. These are usually about $300, $400. My upgrades are $250, and plus, because I'm paying for shipping, like today I went to the post office, and I think I paid like 30 to 40, depends how much I insured for it, but it's about between 30 and $40 to get these out. So my shipping's included in this, so it isn't like I'm trying to get you. But if I talk about lollipops, these are some of the best lollipops you can use. It's figure 8, both sides. I've already done it, and I can ship it to you, but I'm going to take this off the table now. But if someone's interested, it's $600 US, and only in the US I'll ship it for free, with fully insured for the full price of this. So whatever happens, they lose it, something goes on, it's fully insured. If you live outside of the US, just talk to me. I think it could be about $60, maybe $75 extra for shipping. But I just want to offer this. This kind of came up today, and that's it. This is a Cascade ribbon, a lollipop, some of my favorite mics, well made. The only thing that always suffers in these ones is the ribbons. But like I said, if you've watched all my videos, I always talk about how you go through these. So hit me up. hit me up fast. I've expressed this for sale on my Instagram, which is the same as Manny's Mic Locker and then OGMC. Usually when I post mics, they go pretty fast. So if you're interested, let me know. Okay, on to the real deal here. So let me just kind of walk to my left. You can't see me. I'm going to show you some mics that have come in the mail. Unreal collection from Paul in the UK. Look at these. Holy smokes, right? You can see the magnets in there. Like a kid. Look, Mom, the magnets. These are massive. Now, obviously, I can't get to all these today, but I'm going to be doing these live here. I've already picked one that I'm going to work on. When I tested all these, one of the mics wasn't working. And it was really something simple once I opened it up and I saw it. So I said, okay, maybe that's the sign that I've got to work on it. But there you can see the ribbon in there. Holy cows. Look at these. And I mean, I gotta love this, man. That's how you connect the wires, man. Uh-oh. This one right here. You little sneaky guy. This is the, let me get this in there. I just think this is super cool. The way they did these mics. I mean, oh my God, this is so insane. I think this one's gonna get in there. Come on, you gonna go in there for Daddy? There you go. We tighten it down. I mean, it's just pretty fucking badass. That I heard you my F-bomb already. That this is the way you connect the cables. It's like you replace the cables so easy. They're identical. You know, coming up. Let's see if the wiring's the same color. Now this one's been done. Oh, obviously they put new cables on these. So yeah, I mean, this is just amazing. If you wanted to switch out your XLR, you just cut the raw wires and just connect them up and you're good to go. So yeah, I love these. These are amazing. These are actually made in England. From what Paul told me at one time, these were like close to nothing to buy them. And now, I mean, he bought these at a time when it was really affordable to get these. So he's been sitting on these until he got his studio up and running. What's up, Jory's? Hey, what's up, Hippo Man? You know, one of my favorite restaurants in Los Angeles is called Hippo. So if you come to Los Angeles or you live in LA, you're going to have to go to Hippo, Mr. Hippo. So, anyways, this is a pair that he brought to me that I'm going to go through when time permits it, and we're going to work through these methodically. So this is a pair. And, oh, sorry if you didn't catch the brand. Check out that. So that's the front. And that's the back. And let's see what the patent numbers, if, oh, these don't have a serial number. Oh, yeah, the serial number, BCS 2373. BCS 2379. I thought maybe they would have a serial number. It'd be interesting to know when these were, how close they were. Yeah, these are super rad. I mean, just amazing. They have the clips that obviously you need some special mic threads for that. I don't know if those go right into, I'll see if they go into a regular mic stand, but I definitely won't be putting these on a mic stand. They weigh about 5 pounds each. All right. So the next up, like I said, these are all gonna happen here. These are beautiful too. Once again, from Paul's collection for his new studio in England. I don't know what city Paul was in. I don't know if that is how he would say it, but these are both Beyer 230s. These are 260s. They only have one ribbon inside, but what's interesting is that there's a 260 right there. I just did one recently. Sorry, I have it here. Hold on a second. Where are you, 260? Where is my schnizzle manizzle 260? There you are. So here's a 260 I just did. These are my buddies. Stefan. And this one looks a little bit more weathered, maybe older. I'm not sure. Let me see if there's a serial number on this. Serial number. This is 50089. 21768. Obviously, this one's older. So, make sure I don't get Stefan's confused with this one, but it'd be pretty much easy to tell. So, these are Paul's ribbons from the UK, and he sent me a whole box. So, those are, I'm showing you the set of microphones that he had. Same microphone. And this is a 260. And this is a 260. I don't know if that 8634. Yeah, which one comes first? I have no idea. Except maybe this one's older and this one's a little bit newer than it. Looks like the head basket has already been glued on. I have not opened these yet, but I have done these plenty of times. This one has one ribbon inside, and so does this one. And they're Beyerdynamics. Old. I'm saying 60s. Maybe the other one's 70s. I'm not sure. Alrighty. Then, and like I said, I'm not going to obviously get these all tonight, but I will get these going. Reslos. These are the famous Beatles microphones. Now, I've done these before. They're really difficult. They're not easy the way the ribbons are designed, and they just take a little bit of work to get in. But I will say that the ones I've done, the guys that had gotten these, there's a lot of hype in these because these are, you can see pictures of the Beatles using these when they're playing live. And I think Germany or somewhere, obviously there's a boatload of these in England, not in the United States. Paul's got the special tucles or whatever those are to connect these. When I had these, the guys that had brought these to me said, I like it, but it's not my favorite. So I said, okay. So when I opened it up, the ribbon was completely wasted. I put a nice ribbon inside it, and I sent it back to him, and then he wrote me back and said it's his favorite drum mic. So I know there could be some success with, if you don't live in the United States, I'm sure there's some cats in England that are really good at doing these, and also in the United States, there's a few cats that really like doing these as well. So I think if you bought these on eBay and you've been using it just kind of like, I know you may have bought it. I mean, these kind of get expensive now, but it's worth sending it in and have someone put the ribbon in these, because obviously these can be a really, really good mic to use. So these are Reslos. What is the model number for these again? RBTL. No, it's an homage. What are these called again? Oh man, I forget them. There's like 3 or 4 different styles of these. One of them has a long body. I forget the name of them. Maybe this is the one. But like I said, in pictures, these look massive. But when you get them, they're like little mini me's. They're kind of, actually, they're kind of cute. These head baskets look like they swivel. I'm not gonna. These are so old. I'm not even gonna mess with it. But yeah, these are definitely movable and rare as F if you can get them in good condition. These are in great condition with all the cables. They actually come with these. Let me show you real quick. They're not far away. Hold on a second. They come with these cool little Reslo plates. So the mics, I'm assuming the cable, hold on, so there's a tuco with that. Hold on a second. I didn't even try these out. They were all in the box separate. Because I didn't put them in the stand, but they come with this little tuco in here. There's only one way for it to go in. There's a little cut right there, and that goes in there, and then this screws down, it locks it in. But if you put it, I'm assuming, under the stand, that's basically this little podium. So I'm not going to do that right now. I don't really need to do that, but it's cute. And these are little, so for him to get them like pretty much like that, and the cabling looks really nice. He got a good deal wherever he did. But like I said, I think he bought these at a time when they weren't all the rage. All right, so let's put these safely out of the way. Now we got more coming. Hold it now. Move these bad boys out of the way. Then he sent me a pair of some man. Look at these. Superlux. But as known to Manny, Superflux. I know, I had to do it. These are obviously some newer mics that are cool. These are phantom powered. And I'm going to be changing the ribbons in these. So he's got kind of a wide, cool collection. He's got some new phantom powered mics, super old vintage mics, and then including the Beyers and the Reslos. I mean, he's got kind of his ribbon mic locker pretty stacked. Minus, somewhere down the road, he'll probably get some EEs or stuff like that. But, I mean, for the rarity of all these, pretty darn good. Okay, what are we doing today? Well, when I tested one of the mics, it didn't really light up. So when I opened it up, there was a small little tiny cable that obviously it's not a big deal, but in the shipping or whatever happened, it looked like it was hanging on by dear life and just needed to travel to the United States and then not be working. So we're going to get to that. And we have lucked out today because I'm going to see if I can get this. It is the Beatles Reslo. Made famous by the Beatles. There's all kinds of pictures of them singing it. This is not my first choice. This is a difficult one. Just because the ribbon, if I remember right, sits within the magnets. And it's almost like you have to re-ribbon it before you insert it. So there's a little bit of a snag possibilities here. I picked a real tough one to get into. Like Evel Knievel and jumping over some cars. I mean, minus me drinking some whiskey. I may munch it on this one, but what will for sure happen is that it will be a success. I have to get these all done for him. But if you're willing to go along the ride with me, maybe watch me fail, maybe watch me succeed. That's the way it goes. I've done a lot of one and dones, but this Reslo will be a challenge. So I had to open this one up to find out what was going on. And I did. It was really obvious. So we're going to open up Reslo 60s, made famous by the Beatles. There's a few versions of these. You can find them all over the internet. And these are very beautiful mics. So when I took it off, there's only really one way these can go on. There's only one screw on the top, which I just wanted to look inside to find out what happened, and I did. Now these come off pretty easy, but they're kind of clipped on the back. This right here just locks in a little hook, and then you see the screw that's on the top goes into that one. The same with this one. That just goes on a little hook, but this one goes in first, and then the other one comes in. This one kind of hooks it and then permits it to go in. So there's only one way to kind of put these in, and there's only one way to take them off. And let me show you this one too. So that's really interesting. Actually, I have fiberglass in there. And the front side just has this silk. So let's make sure we put our little parts in there. I see the screw. I see you. We're going to put the insulation on the top. I don't want to put that on the basket before I even get started. I haven't even cut the ribbon yet. I don't know what the ribbon gap is yet. But I remember these are very, very interesting to do. Holy smokes, I'm really doing this, huh? I really went live to do... I mean, I know that Beyers are a son of a bitch and Coles are a son of a bitch. But these microphones technically are small little son of a bitches. They're just, the design of this is kind of like, really? But, fuck it. This is how they decided to make a ribbon. And if you're going to say you're going to change some ribbons, guess what? you're going to sometimes get yourself in a tough jam. So what happened on this one I could see is that when I opened it up and looked at it, this little wire right there, I don't know if you can see it, this little wire had disconnected from the ground, and this one is connected. So what I did is I just moved it out of here. I can solder these back. It's not a big deal. So yeah, so now you can see. So this one goes up into that little solder point, which is not a big deal. And then this was the ground. Now that was the one that was just hanging on by, like, there's nothing. You can see it where someone had, looks like they almost melted it, and it's just not good anymore. So these are going to the transformer inside. That's that little hook I was telling you about, that the let's just get this one. So when you go to put this back on, kind of lock in there, and there it is. That's one and done. So you can even say, like, that's even better to show you. And like I said, this will actually be the back side. Sorry about that. So what happens is I'm going to actually make sure that these are out of the way of this path. I can even look at this too. There. This is the. Let me see if this is right. You got, once again, Manny. There's only one way to do this. Come on, get it right. Okay, that's going in there. See, look at, I'm already doing it. It's already tripping me out. You're tripping me out. Doing it. Bottom is just the hook. Come on, let's do this right for the people. They're watching. All right, so that'll go like that. This one, out of order. This one goes in first because that's to slide in and go in that little schnizzle manizzle. Come on, everybody. Throw away. This is the top. Okay, okay, that goes in there. I got my schnizzles and my nizzles in there. This is a hard design, man. Those wires right on that. So it's almost like you got to drop that on the top and then move this one in. Come on, are you really going to mess with me right now? Okay, there it goes. So when I put this back, I got to really be careful of the work I've already done. And I just have to reset. It's not a big deal. And it's way easier to work on it like this than to work on it with those wires kind of like looking at you like, don't break. I'm ready to break. Don't break. All right, so this is, now we get into the motor. So it's covered with this, looks pretty good. It's not bad. No need for this to be replaced or anything. I have some silk, but this is fine. It's not rotten, eroded. It actually looks in pretty good condition. So once again, the motor, the transducer will be wrapped in this, and this is going to protect the ribbon from some wind coming in besides the grill. Then one more thing here, and this is basically to keep the ribbon in. And then we're going to look at the ribbon right now. Are you going to come off? Are you going to come off for Daddy? Hold on now. Oh, come on. Okay, there it goes. So these are kind of magnetized in there to sit right in there. There's only one way to go. They're just going to drop in. There is a screen on the bottom, but it's within the magnet. So there's 3 magnets in this one. 1, 2, 3. Those are connected to this plate right here. Then this is hello, Mary and Co. It's the couple. It's Common Time Productions, the lovely married couple who do a lot in music. I have your microphones. And we're going over a Reslo. So yeah, so this just goes in there. There is a screen on the bottom, but these screens, kind of like the coals, are strictly to keep, I believe, the ribbon inside. Why would the ribbon be screaming to get outside? A big puff of air could make that blow outside the magnet, and then it will tear. I did. I was running around all day today, and I got your email, and everything's cool. I will send you an email with the tracking number. And thank you again. So these little rubber felt things are important too, because once they go inside, let me get the mic again. Once they go inside, you can see there's one felt here. So obviously that one is not the best in the world, but when I install it, you're kind of still putting it in that felt. And it tells you, if you follow the breadcrumbs, that's the way it has to go back in, because there's a little half felt there, a little half felt there, and the other ones look pretty good. Now I do have some other felt. If I felt like this was kind of a little loosey-goosey, I'll check again. Because the wire was broken, I just saw it and I pulled it out. But I could put a little piece of felt there and make sure that this is really snug inside. I do think it's important, like in RCA 74Bs, which are still affordable. They have a different motor in them, and they're always fucked up, which means the motor brackets, the little rubber mounts of the grommets that are kind of like that but made out of rubber, they always deteriorate. These are 1950 mics. So when they deteriorate, it flops around in there, makes noise, and then a lot of times the magnets are being held by these bolts, and by bouncing around, the magnets start to twist and they're not even, and then the ribbon obviously suffers and it gets snagged, and the ribbons have never looked good when I open those. So 74Bs are cool, and you can still find as low as $600 and maybe 1,000 or 1,200 if they're really like super clean, or they come with like an NBC badge on them, or there's something, you know, looks nice about them. But I'll be honest with you, unless you change a ribbon in them, those are kind of just paperweights. You have to work on those. You have to make them good. There's a lot of guys in the United States, not a lot. There's a few in the United States and there's a few in England that can definitely service those if you're looking for a cool, vintage, awesome-looking RCA. Albini used to love those, Steve Albini. He used to put those on a guitar cab and you kind of tilt them forward. So yeah, I've had maybe 6 or 7 of those. I own 2 of them, and they're wonderful for guitars, but you got to get them done. So Paul sends these to me. It's like, Manny, what do you think? Before I even looked inside, I kind of knew what I would see. And if you can see, that is as flat as F. There's no corrugation in that. Once I put a ribbon that's corrugated in that, this mic will come alive. And that's the difference. Now, one thing is for sure, I'm pretty positive no one has ever changed that ribbon. It looks ancient as me. I made a little note, B for bottom, T for top. I know I put my graffiti on it, but it's really important that because of the positive on the top and the negative on the bottom, I don't want to switch those. And even though it looks identical to go like that or like that, I just want it to be exactly what I got it. And once I put a new ribbon in this, it will be amazing. And it's tiny. I mean, I don't know. Let's see, how many inches is that? Let me see here. Where is my small little measuring schnizzle? Where's my schnizzle? Oh, there it is. All right. So this will be magnetized. So that ribbon. It's a little bit more than an inch. Maybe an inch and a quarter. A little bit more than that. Under, it's a little bit over an inch and a quarter and a little bit under an inch and 3/4. No, I'm sorry, an inch and a quarter and almost an inch and a half. So, and once again, when I look at this, I mean, there's 3 magnets. That's kind of cool. These are strong still. Good sign. And they're glued somehow to that. I don't want those to come undone, but if they did come undone, we would have to figure it out. These are really interesting because I haven't done it yet, but this comes off, and then you change the ribbon within this, and then you drop it in. For me, that's fucking freaky. I'll tell you why. Because I have to get it just straight in here, and then you drop it in. I'll show you right now. You have to drop it in between the magnets. So, I don't know, but yeah, that gives you a really cool idea. That is wasted. I mean, it's flat. Let me see if I have an example. Hold on. So at least before I destroy that one, you can see. Let me see, it's not that one. Let me see here. Let me go to my ribbon graveyard. Yeah. Well, this isn't the best example, but let me see if this will work. We just want to get a little ribbon. Come on. Come to daddy. Get out of there. I know you thought you were going to just remain in peace there, but these are no good. These are out of Beyer 160s and 230s. It's a little graveyard. Some coals in there. But that's... So when I replace it, which you'll see, hopefully, and I don't mess up, it's going to be kind of like that. It's a perfectly example of a nice ribbon in there. Let me put it up closer in case you can't see it. So see all the little grooves in there? That's going to help the mic sound wonderful. But this one doesn't have any because it's been pretty much flattened out. And I don't know, I've never seen one come in with good corrugation, which maybe at the time they were just like, oh, we'll just put a ribbon in there. Maybe it's slightly corrugated. I don't know. I've never seen one that's come in like totally healthy or fine. I've only seen them when they come in like this. And I can only assume that this is old. All right, enough said. Holy cows, I can't believe I'm going to do this. This is a tough mic to work on. And I got my Pellegrino. You know what I'm going to say. I'm a Pellegrino whore and a coffee whore. If you want to send thanks, you just go in the description. There's a little thank you icon. You can buy me a cup of coffee. What are you getting? What are you getting for that cup of coffee? Oh, once again, it's like Evil Knievel. It's going to be a success story, one and done, and I'm going to be like Mr. Badass. Or this is going to be one of those fucking mics. I'm going to have to come back in the morning after a good breakfast at Nick's Cafe. And I'll be like, get your shit together, Manny. You failed last night on this video. You need to get this done. And now Paul's already sleeping in England. I think he is. And he's going to watch this tomorrow. So he's like, what do you mean that cables? What's going on, Manny? Oh, whatever. We got it. We got you. Here it goes. Let me get a drink. With this particular mic, even in his collection, if this was to move around or he was to use it, or let's say in and out, taking it out a few times out of wherever he keeps his mic, eventually that one was like a thread barely holding on. I know, thank you. So no matter what, it's cool. So I'm going to put a nice ribbon in it. I'm going to resolder this really good. And he's going to get a little bit more life. Actually, a lot of life out of this. That ribbon is pretty interesting. It's wasted. Not wasted as me, and I'm not wasted. I haven't drank since 2008 in Honolulu, Hawaii. Manny got fucking liquored up. It was one of the last times. I think I got alcohol poisoning. And what it was is I was, for about 8 or 9 years, I worked on the island recording all the punk and cool bands. And I think it was maybe been about maybe the time that my father had passed away. And I'm a happy drunk. And alcohol, I've only in my life have drank tequila and Coronas. I don't know what it is about that combination, but if you meet me, you can't even tell I'm wasted, even if I was completely buzzed. So I flew into Honolulu. I have a session the next morning. Because of the hour difference, I mean, my buddy who wrote me from Guam, there may be a lot of difference. I think Hawaii is usually about 3 hours. So when I arrived in Honolulu, it was like 7 p.m. their time. But that should have been 10 p.m. my time. So I'm thinking like, oh fuck, it's 7 o'clock. My last call is gonna arrive at like, I'm getting an extra 3 hours to drink. So like a dumbass, I go get some margaritas. I'm with all my buds. We have a session in the morning. And I drank so much. And I went to my friends, like a little get together, we're all celebrating. And then I realized I've gone too far. And one of my friends there is a nurse. And this person had something. I don't know what it was, but I mean, I was like not only spinning, but already gotten sick. It's not to gross you guys out. You know how it is. I mean, you're just sicker than a fucking dog. And this person pulled out a vial or something, goes, here, drink this. They give this to people in emergency, and you'll feel better. So, okay, I did it because I was sick. And when I took this, whatever it was, I could barely remember, I felt fucking great. All good. I was like, what was that? Oh, the doctors have it, and if someone comes in and they're, they drank too much or alcohol poisoning, we give them this, whatever that was. It could have been like, I don't know. I don't know what it was. And I'm never taking drugs, so, I mean, nowadays, I don't think I'd be drinking anything from someone giving me something, but I did. So I felt great. I actually went to bed, and I think I got like 3 hours sleep. I woke up, and I could not believe I was fine. And, like, this thing that they gave me to drink must have had like a 10-hour window where you're just feeling like there's nothing wrong. And then after that 10-hour window, it came crashing back, and I was just messed up as much as I was the night before. And of course, everybody does that thing where you're praying on the porcelain toilet and you're just like, no, please, I'll never drink again if you let me feel better. Well, I did that to myself. And the next day, I vowed I wasn't going to drink again. And it's weird. I've had maybe a few margaritas in my path. Even when I went to record in China for 2 years, I just went with 160 pounds of gear, one-way ticket to Shanghai. I was like, forget LA. I had my own studio. I was able to sort everything out. I don't know what was going to happen. But during that trip, I never drank because a friend of mine who had gone to Spain told me that he's a fighter. I mean, he has like titanium bones. I don't even like if you had a bat and you ran up on him and you hit him, he'd probably just laugh and then take the bat away from you and then beat the hell out of you. Like him and his brother were those guys. But he had gone to Spain, he'd gotten wasted, so his superpowers were definitely dimmed. And 3 guys jumped him, beat the fuck out of him, stole his passport, just wasted him. And I could not believe that he lost that fight because he's the guy that I'd always want to have on my back if something was to happen. So that was the story that I thought in my mind, and I said, I can't drink on this trip. I have too much gear. I have to walk around with all my hard drives. So I never drank. Okay, so I undid these 4 screws. They're just little, these little fathead screws, flathead, and they're fatheads. And so we're going to remove this part now. Holy smokes. Uh-oh. Looks like we got a ribbon no-no. All right. Well, that tells you how tricky that was. Just removing this. Sliced and diced. So if you can see that, there's no corrugation in this. And I'll give you an example. So this we can't use this ribbon again. But then if you look at the transducer or the motor, there's that other screen. It's just floating in there, magnetized. Or it's glued. I can't tell. Could be glued. And so I have to cut a ribbon on this and then install it in there. And I got to have this straight to fit in there. Now, it doesn't have to be that way. If this, I think I had it one time and this plate had come off the magnets and it's different. Then you can do it from the other side. But I'm definitely not going to destroy this bad boy. And these magnets are pretty strong. That is magnetized. Let's see. Yeah, not as like, see, these are alnico, not as much as a neodymium. If this is neodymium, it would fly out and just, I don't have anything that can show you technically, but, so these are alnico. So that, look at that design. 3 magnets, and you can tell they're shaped like an L, even though this is covering it, it's like a, I mean, or a C, or a U. But yeah, so the magnetic field is, these are glued to this plate. The plate has the magnets just making it. Let's see if that's magnetized too. Yeah. Oh, that's really magnetized. So this magnet isn't that strong, but when you get to the plate, it's really strong. So these 3 magnets have juiced up this plate, and the ribbon will fit in the middle of that. So the trick will be, which is, once again, I don't know why I picked this mic to do it first. It's a son of a bitch. I have to put the ribbon in there and then hopefully slide it in there without touching the side or ripping it, and then screw these 4 in. It's a son of a gun. Oh my God. Why did I pick this one? Okay. So in all precautions of safety and caring, I'm going to put this mic over here, and the screws are all going to freak out and stick to it, but that's okay. This is going to be my working plate. Now these 2 screws, like Cole's, have these little bolts on it. So when I unscrew it, these are going to come off. So it's a little bit of a bitch. And there's no way to have installed the screw. You can't install the ribbon from this side. So most ribbon mics would have these 2 screws. You can undo them. And they're not being screwed into these bolts. They'd be screwed into some metal. But this is probably Bakelite, or their version of plastic. It's pretty cool. And I'm not sure why they have holes there. Let me see this again. It'd be interesting to look at this. The screen stuck to that. So these screws go in there. We know what those ones are. 4 holes. Nothing going to nowhere. Maybe there's other Reslos. Maybe like this is a transducer that other ones will be screwed in there. These ones happen to be screwed in there. Interesting. Very interesting. So that is the wrong way. It needs to be installed. And then I need to lay it in there. And I can't tear it. And then once it's in there, I screw that in. A little bit of a son of a bitch. I'm questioning my reasoning of why I thought it was a good idea to do the Reslo first. Sorry, everything is sticking to these magnets, which is okay. They're all friends. They're all going to the same place. And like I said, even on this one, once this is laying on top of that magnet, this screen, like that, it falls in there. Sneeze, hold on. Don't sneeze during ribboning. Okay. So once again, let's just see. Let's just see what happens. I'm actually, you know, like, I've talked a bunch of shit that I can do all these mics. And then I get to this one, I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. This one's a difficult one. Jesus. There's a question from Go Hill Records. How does the width and the height of the ribbon impact the tone? Well, I wish I could say that there is a right or a wrong, but Beyer 160s, like I showed you that little graveyard, are super small and they're massive sounding. And then, see the little screw? This is in the bottom, came out. And then you get into RCAs like a 44, which are big and long. And then you get into 77s, which are small and kind of thinner. And then you get into Coles that are small, but they're 6 6.3 millimeters wide. So for instance, this is probably like, I mean, I haven't measured the gap yet, but maybe 2 millimeters. And then, so that's 2 millimeters. I'm just making an estimate. 2 millimeters is that. And let me show you a Coles. Oh, I got my graveyard right here. That's a good question. Okay, this is my microphone graveyard full of Beyer 160s and Coles. This is a Coles ribbon. That is like 6 millimeters. So England, a little bit longer, and then this is massive. But the magnets that you see in this transducer probably weighs I don't know, maybe a pound, almost a pound. I don't know, but they're really strong. But the magnets in a Coles microphone is like, it feels like 5 pounds or more. I don't even know how much weight. It's just massively big magnet. And that magnet, I think, corresponds with a big ribbon. So these older mics suffered because people changed transformers in these, and they try to, use a cloud lifter to get these to be louder. These magnets in this start to fade after time. Sometimes neodymium magnets just go bad, and the older you get. So when people get old ribbons, and that's one of the things people have to, guys who work on ribbons have to find alternate possibilities when the magnets go dead. So there's a few guys that have this cool way of stacking neodymiums, and there's a lot of guys in England that have gotten a lot of these types of mics, and they figure out workarounds so when these happen. So once again, that is a Coles, and then let me show you a 160. This is a Beyer, which is smaller than that one. So I don't know if you can see that. So this is probably 2 millimeters. This is probably 160, 1.7 millimeters. This is probably 6. And different sounds. And then if you would have had like I don't have any larger ones in this one, but like if you had a 44, not as big as this, but you could say like maybe that much would be like in a 44. And the R84s are kind of big, and the 77s have a little like post there that kind of, the weird mics. But yeah, so I don't know technically why one would be more than the other, or I think people end up liking mics that they like, and it's all about the sound of the mics. But I don't think there's one like Coles cost, for a pair it could be $3,000. For a pair of these would cost maybe on the used market about $1,200 or $1,300, and then brand new probably like 900 piece. So maybe we're talking 1,800, and that so it's like 3,200, 1,800, and then this is vintage. But I don't think this one is being more, even though it's going to sound way better with my corrugation, these microphones are not necessarily known for being like a Coles. But once I re-ribbon it, it's going to sound like a wonderful ribbon and have all the detail of anything really on the market. And it may sound cooler and darker because of the Alnico magnets. I like Alnicos. I'm making my own ribbon microphone, and I'm going to I have about 4 or 5 models that I feel really strong about. 2 of them I want to make with Alnicos, but the first one has to be neodymium. And those are modern magnets because there's no way of the workaround. I can't get enough power into how I'm building the mic without neodymium. And that's why when you get into Alnico, this one in particular that I just showed you I'm doing, this thing is always, I'm going to move this farther away, it's always sticking to it. They had to put 3 magnets in that to make it work good. So, and like I said, you can tell by this. So if I have my screwdriver, it's strong, but it doesn't feel that strong. This, it's massively strong. So the 3 magnets have equaled a heavy magnet or magnetizing this plate, and the ribbon goes through that plate, and that's how it gets sound to the ribbon as it moves around. That magnetic field turns into sound, and also it's like a speaker. Speakers are all microphones. Microphones are all speakers. So you can get some headphones, plug them into a DI, or plug them into a preamp, and you could do bass guitar and speakers on kick drums. That's one of the most famous, subs out there. Is you get an NS10 or find a speaker comparable to that. You rewire it backwards or put it into a DI, and now you have a low end generating. It doesn't have as much detail as like a 57 or 58, but it is doing what it is made of, and that's a magnet and a ribbon tweeter. But if it had a coil, then it would be like a dynamic mic. Like if you have a 57 and you plug something the other way of music into it, I think it just turned into a weird, terrible speaker. All right, enough of that. I'm ranting and raving. We're approaching an hour. What the fuck are we even talking about? Jesus. I always tell my wife, like, she's like, "You're gonna go live?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'll be home in a little bit." It's like, oh, Jesus Christ, really? You're just hurting yourself every time you do that. So that, I hope that answered your question, if that made any sense, man. And like I said, there kind of is no answer. Mark at gas station. How are you doing, Mark? I'm sorry you joined this. You know what it's going to be about, a bunch of F-bombs, and I'm a coffee whore and a Pellegrino whore, and talking a bunch of shit. But one thing I will say, for me, this is really fun to do this. There's a lot of people that this is their job. I mean, they're a repair dude. I don't really want to be that. I want to be someone that like is an enthusiast, and I feel like I'm happy helping my friends out, producers, engineers, people that have studios. I don't want to be the Beyerdynamic rep of the United States to be responsible for all their build outs. I don't want to go to AEA and say, "Hey man, how do I get your business?" I'll help my friends out and have people here to do the ribbon mics. But I'm a producer, I have my own band. I'm building my own ribbon mic. So you could say I'm getting in the business somehow a little bit, but I don't go and find new old stock parts for 77s and 44s and transformers and all. I mean, that's another world. I just like doing what I'm doing, and which is doing cool microphones for my buds. This is Paul. So this ribbon should come out. As you can tell, it's under that little thing right there. Oh, schnizzle my nizzle. And it just came out. The ribbon is kind of tucked in to that little clip. So I have to put the clip in there. Let me see if I can release this ribbon. Hold on. We'll do it. But I think this is worthy of the ribbon mic graveyard. So if someone asks me about a Reslo, I'll be like, "That's a Reslo right there." And it's really interesting because the corrugation is really, really weird. Like it's nothing. That was nothing. There's no corrugation. You can see those little grooves, but whatever was there is no more. And this clip is going to be how this works. When I put the ribbon mic in there, this is going to snap in, and then the bracket, there is a groove there. So I do have a focal point. I can install this. I know it has to fit in that groove. So that is going to go in there, and then when you put this plate, The plate is forcing that bracket down onto the top of the ribbon, and then the ground, and then the top is going to go there. So that's how that's supposed to work. So what I want to do now, this one was the one that broke. Paul, I know you didn't hear it, but when the mic arrived, this little schnizzle manizzle, it was holding on for dear life and it wasn't working. So when I opened it up, it was ripped right there, which is easy. It was not barely hanging on, or not. When I opened it up, it wasn't even there anymore. So it had to be done anyways. Regardless, there's no way to get around it. There's no way that mic is going to work without the ground being connected. So what I want to do now is right there. And that's going to tell me, no matter what, that is the top. And I'm going to put it back in a nice little area for it to sit. And I want to make sure the top and the bottom remain the same. So one more time. Even though the plastic is really weird, I'm sure it can go the other way around. All these parts fit in there just perfect. No one's going to see that. So that's the top and that's the bottom. So as I remove everything, did you tell them what happened to them? I did tell them this came from England. And they were packed incredibly well. So I just think it was just a matter of time. That ribbon is wasted. The wiring. So this is, so Paul, the owner of these mics, he's here. Son of a bitch, he's watching me now. God damn it. You can tell this one, like someone soldered this, kind of burnt it a little bit, but there's not even any wire showing. So when this broke inside there, it was already, it almost seems like, I think this was a little bit loose in here, which I'm going to put some felt that's going to snug it. I'm going to snuggle it. And this was just kind of moving around and eventually just back and forth. So it didn't even leave any, like this one, I could solder back easy. This one, I'm gonna have to make a little schnizzle manizzle to solder that back on, which is okay. When these go back to you, they will be good and they will be well tested. So I want to make sure when I do these that the bolts and the screws are going back to the same ones that I was using. Just put them in a safe place like that, and then we put the plate back over there. All right. To take up my whole table, I'm like spread out. This is like, holy smokes. I really picked a hard one, Paul. This is not the one I was going to initially do, but when I checked it, I was like, oh, fuck, man. Really? This one is so difficult because I need to install the ribbon in that little gap. And then I need to put the little back there. And then I need to put the plate on it to lock it in. And this is what I'm going to put the positive goes onto this one. So that's the top. Once I unscrew these ones, the other schnizzle manizzle is going to come off. And oh, I want to do the graveyard. I want to keep this Reslo as a example. When someone says, have you ever done a Reslo? Well, let me check the graveyard of ribbons. And there you go. I don't want to even break this, but this looks like a thicker foil. I mean, it's pretty, see if I can even stand it up straight. I mean, that's one thing I will say. AEA ran out of their old stock ribbon. And I don't know in the world you could know unless you knew like an old ribbon guy and he like, I remember, I think Wes Dooley bought up, or when he bought the company, or whatever the case was, he was a repair guy for them. He had almost all the old stock ribbon, and it's a little bit different than the aluminum that we have, the aluminium that we have today. So I think that when you get older microphones, like if the ribbons in like, let's see, if you get an old RCA mic, a 44 or 77, and the ribbon looks good, maybe it's slacked and you can just retension it, retune it, I would do that before I would change it out. Unless it's damaged, and the ribbons definitely come loose. Sometimes the brackets, and they're that old, they'll come loose. You can retension them, retighten it, and it's fucking perfect. I wouldn't change them out unless it was totally you have to. This one is really obvious. It's gonna sound better once it's changed out. Changed out. I'm positive because I've done it. And like I said, the person that had some of these Reslos, they said it's not my favorite mic, but let's just see what you can do, and then maybe. And he just told me that was one of his. So he couldn't believe that the mic sounded so much better, and it wasn't like I'm so good. I just happened to put a ribbon that was corrugated in there, and it happened to sound really good once this is changed out. Because with a flat ribbon like that, incredibly dull, dark, and probably not that exciting. Like this video. And I'm dark. So there you go. I'm like this microphone, pre-ribboned. Yep, Paul, I gave everybody the rundown on all your schnizzle nizzles. They're there. Pretty sick collection, man. Congratulations. I mean, if you had to buy all these today, it's a small fortune. It would be like, 10 grand if you want, maybe more. I don't know. All right, hold on a second here. There's a little bit of a ribbon in there, I believe, still in there. So this is the bottom. Let's get that little screw out. There's no threads in these. So these are just basically, these little clamps are literally just holding down this little pin here. So I want to keep these separate. So what we're going to do with these ones, I know what we're going to do. Hold on. Hold it now. Don't leave me. You can leave me, actually. You won't see me mess up Paul's mic. Hold on. Hold on. Where are you? Never mind. Thought I had something over here I was going to use, but nope. So I want to make sure that I have all these parts separated. There's nothing wrong with a little bit of insulation. It's not going to do nothing. It's not all frayed out, so it's not going to really fuck anything up. Put it there. Top, bottom. And then this came off. There it is. That's the solder point that broke. And I have to resolder that, but I can resolder it after the ribbon's installed. And there's a little bit of ribbon there. We got to get that out. Hold the ribbon, and then I'll put the plate back on that. So I do have to clean that up real quick. Let me get my little table cleared. Below me, it looks like the bottom of a Christmas tree. There's no presents there. There's no bottles of Pellegrino that and coffee. All right. So let me see this real quick. So I marked it bottom and top. And what I want to do now is I want to clean that just a hair. I feel like there's a little something in there. Okay. Whew. I can't believe this is the one I'm gonna do. Son of a gun. All right. Now here comes the serious business is cutting the ribbon, figuring out the gap. And then, so the hardest part is once I've set the ribbon in there, it's got to be straight. And then I have to then lay that upside down. And those brackets have to go in there. And as I lay it in, it's got to go in there and snap in. So just want to make sure. Hold on a second. That's the bottom. I marked it right there. Marked it right there. So once the ribbon's in this, oh, Paul, come on now, brother. Thank you. So once that's in that, I have to set this kind of freeballing it with, usually if you do a ribbon mic, the brackets are here and I'm able to lay it in and I'm gauging my cut to fall into that. This one, you have to cut it outside the magnets, and then crazy enough, you have to then, and so when I install this, I've got to make sure that ribbon, which you saw how thin they are, doesn't snag or get caught there. So I'm just doing a little dry run to see how this feels. Okay, so it's in there, can't really, there's a little bit of wiggle room. But so I have to install the ribbon on this. I don't know if it's going to fit exactly. And then I have to drop it in without ripping the ribbon into this. And then I can bolt in the 4 ribbons. Voila. Sounds easier said than done. So now I've also, so you know what I'm doing here. Okay, so the T is for top. And I want to put this back the same way I got it. And then there's a T for top there that I wrote there. I know that's so dumb, but when this was made and they put it together, you got to put it back the way it was. And you just have to, little things like that when you work on these older mics. Like newer mic, let's say a Royer. This bracket there, that screw there, that screw, they're all going to be the same. It's totally high quality control. It's going to be fine. But when you get like Bakelite like this and like something that was made in the 50s and the 60s, a lot of that stuff is like one-offed. So, you have to be well aware of it. So that's why I kept, the top here and the bottom there, because even this tells me, I know this is the bottom because that's where that solder joint broke. So, I just want to put it back the way it was. So yeah, these are a little bit more like, you got to really think about it. You got to really, oh, dude, thank you, my brothers. Oh yeah, Topo Chico, you got it. Thank you all. Time for a drink. So that's why when I said I was going to do this one, I was kind of like, son of a bitch. But it was the one that I could tell there was something that needed immediate, even though I'm going to do them all. This is the one that kind of put fear in my heart. I was like, oh my God, I forgot. It's the free ball descending ribbon into the magnets. That's not like other microphones. The if you look at my old videos of that old Telefunken, that one was worse. I'm not even lying. There was like these 2 big butt cheeks that went deep into the mic, and I had this pole that went down. I had to lay the ribbon on the pole and then drop it between the 2 butt cheeks, and it arrived in the center of the mic between the magnets. So yeah, that one was a motherfucker. Thank you all. 2 bones, and Paul did too. And that honestly really makes my day when that comes in the mail. I'm usually going to the supermarket thinking, oh my God, I have no money. And then it shows up and I'm like, oh yeah, let's buy some Trader Joe's tuna and some small kosher pickles and maybe some chocolate covered pretzels. Thanks to you all. I know it sounds like I'm stalling, but I am. I'm a little bit in fear of doing this. Jesus. Oh my God, doing this live on the spot is just a, oh my God, what? This is the one I'm going to do? Really? Okay. Enough is enough. I told you I was going to do this, and now it's time for me to do this. All right, so let me make sure I got this right. I do want to put this on the way I did it. Okay, so we're going to start like this. This is our starting point. I'm going to do my little, what's that movie called where Ben Affleck does that? Not The Auditor. But I like to have like plain, just it's easy when I grab stuff. So I'm not going to measure the gap in that. I'm going to measure the gap in the magnet. I do want to be very careful with this because I definitely know that those are glued in. I've had one time where the magnet had come unglued from that when it arrived, so I definitely just don't want to mess with this. So that's the top. All right. Whew. I'm not even telling you this because it's like I want to add drama and tension. This really does put fear in my heart. Like when I do the Coles, like I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna do fucking Coles today. Fuck everyone. And I get in there, I'm like, oh fuck, dude, really? You're gonna do Coles? That was a bad idea. Okay, so this is gonna be screaming towards the magnet. Hold on. Let's put this in my little bracket here. I definitely don't want to crush it. I just wanted to be able to measure it. I gotta have this, man. Paul's the guy that fucking sent these to me. You're supposed to be sleeping, Paul. You're supposed to watch this tomorrow. So, like, you know, you can be like, Manny, what happened? Oh, sorry, Paul. Didn't make it, man. The ribbon broke. I'm going to get it today. Instead, you're like witnessing this. Okay, so I need to get this so I could possibly work on it. I'll make sure that's not going to fall out of there. It's good. Come on. Hold on. Little tape mayhem here. Hold on a second. Whew. Once again, I turned off the air. It was cold in here, and I thought, oh yeah, we're going to get this done in an hour. I told myself, when has this ever been done in an hour? I'm at 73 minutes. So I'm just doing a little something, something here. Tape. I just want to put this as a little bit of a safeguard. This is not the kind of thing that you want, even though I can't put it in there massively tight. And I also want to make sure that this thing does not fall out while I'm measuring it. That careful with these motherfuckers. Okay. 280. Let me do the top. Man, just got a cramp. Don't cramp up. Top, make sure it's 280 as well. Right. About 290. I gotta get this right. Looks like it may be slightly. Yeah, I think it gets smaller here. So what is this one? And then what do we hear? You can see it's smaller here and then bigger there. I didn't notice that before. But it goes from 280 to oh 08. That's really small right here. I've got to do it on. I went to kind of in the middle. I've got to do it on the edge because this is where it's the smallest. So 2. And then, all right, 280 there, 316 there. Ooh. Okay, so if this was if this was an RC or something like that, I would remove the plate and reset it. But this plate is not only magnetized, but it's glued onto these magnets. And if you can tell there's no fucking around because it's glued to that, that's glued to that. There's no way to get the plate and move it and adjust it. 280 here, like 338, 310 here. So my ribbon has to come out and fit within this part, which is smaller. And I could cut it a little bit bigger to go in there. That will be tricky, but I'm going to try. So I'm going to try to get it smaller here and then get it bigger there. So the ribbon is uniform inside. I could just get away with doing the smallest here and have it go all the way through. But I think I'll get 1 or 2 more dBs out of it if I can get that really rock solid all the way. So yeah, so every time you do these, even if I made them, I think somewhere I have, like most ribbons I work, I write them down. But then I realized it didn't matter. Like even Beyers, sometimes they're different. Even Coles are mostly the same. The mics that will never change are like Royers and AEA. Because some of those, like as much as this is, if you open up an AEA, like one of the big boys, the 74s, whatever, the magnets are set. You can imagine an Eiffel Tower of metal. And that metal is just going to be, the tolerance between that gap is going to be the same every time. So I don't think they're going to have that inconsistency of the gap of the ribbon moving around. Like the Chinese mics I get, if the magnets are any thicker or smaller, you know, they'll have a problem. Now, really quick, since I did this, I don't know if anybody saw this earlier, I have a Cascade, one of the best lollipops you can buy. I've already gone through this mic. I did the little Manny thing to it. I'm selling it. If you want to hit me up on my, look in the description, you can write me in. I give my email there. It's 600, and I'm covering in the United States fully the shipping and insurance up to $600. So I just sent a bunch of mics today, and I think I did like $800. It was like about almost $40 for the insurance and the shipping. So you could say almost like I'm selling the mic for $550, and the shipping is going to cover whatever that is. If you're outside the U.S. and you want this, just talk to me. I think it's usually about $60 or $70 extra. But yeah, these are, I think, some of the best ribbon mics that are lollipops they make. And the only difference that if you buy one of these Cascades and you're like, oh yeah, they're still $350 to $400 to buy them, period. But the ribbons are just like Chinese ribbons in there. They're just terrible. So once they put this nice ribbon in the mic, it's smoking. And then one of my favorite, I mean, look at that. That's the back and that's the front. Massive open end sound. These are really killer. They're special. And it's already got the OGMC. All right, back to this. Damn it. Okay, let me just do one more here. Just want to make sure. $280. All right. Let me do some little math here. Hold on a second. Die here. Hold on a second. Holy cows, Batman. We're really going to do this, huh? Okay. So if you came in, this is the motor transducer to a Beatles era microphone, which the Beatles did use these, not this particular one, maybe. But this is a Reslo. Very popular because people associate them with the Beatles. But most of the time, they don't sound that great until you get them done. So let me just do a little math on this. Let's see. So these mics, this is that example of if you cut the ribbon too long, it's going to turn into a pigtail. It's just going to curl up. And inch-wise, we're looking at like, remember I wondered before, it's almost 1.25 inches. But what would it be in millimeters? That's what it'd probably be. What would it be? There's a little stuck to it. This are 3 millimeters. Inches. I have to cut a ribbon that's not going to roll up on me. So it's about 1 inch. So I think I can get away with maybe a cut that's 2 inches. I have a little graveyard of some, not graveyard, but I have some ribbon options. Let me just see if I have anything that's around 2 inches. There's one right there. Let me just make sure it is 2 inches. Two. Oh, that's 2. That's a candidate. A little bit less than 2. Maybe. I don't really like that one. This one has a better one. I like it. Sorry, I'm just going through some options of, I already have some ribbon that's semi-prepared that I can cut. I just gotta see if one of them, I have other ribbons in there because these, when you get into shorter microphones like Beyers, you can't cut long ribbons because they're just gonna get wasted. And so you have to cut them really close, but you have to have enough wiggle room for some mistakes if part of it tears or you're installing it. So I have these ribbons that are like different lengths to just see if I could, So this is kind of a ribbon that would be in a MXL. And that's probably like, I don't know, almost 5 millimeters. And that, so an MXL mic that you see me talk about, that doesn't even fit in there. It already. Someone throw this one away. I think I had it in there and I just kind of crushed it. And these are no good once they get kind of damaged like that. Even though that costs money, but I can't put that in a mic. Okay, see here. That one's probably going to do it. It's too long. I got to cut this ribbon right. All right, that one's okay. All right, so we got two candidates to see if this is going to work. So these are a bunch of ribbon sheets that I prepared. The bigger ones are the ones that I'd use on the MXLs. And then I have that little line in the middle because if I cut some Beyers, I'll go halfway into that. Shoot, don't go anywhere. Hold on. Oh, sorry. I'm moving around here. Hold on now. Don't go anywhere. Okay. Whew. As they say on all Batman episodes, holy cows, Batman, as Robin would say. All right, let's just see what we got. I just got to do it. If I fuck it up, there is no room for a failure. But I will know this. I have to get the top to the bottom. So the bottom is smaller and the top is bigger. Whew. First thing I have to do is cut this edge. Working edge so I can unplug my phone. Hopefully it doesn't die. This cable's driving me crazy. All right, so I gotta get my razor blades. I have a new one in there. Where are the new ones? X's are used. Wrong, hold on. They go dull pretty quick. So I keep a lot of these because I'm cutting tape and weird stuff. Eventually, what I do is I get them and I just cover them in a bunch of tape. So if someone's digging through a trash bin, they won't cut themselves. So I just roll them in this like tape ball that there's no way you're gonna cut themselves with it. But disposing of razor blades is nasty because I don't want it. And if you live in LA, people are always looking for, well, anywhere probably, looking for cans and stuff. And you got to make sure that you've done you just don't throw a razor blade in a trash bag and put it in the trash. That is a disaster if someone's, trash can diving in the middle of the night and you get a razor blade stuck between your fingers. That's gross, but I'm just saying. All right. Do I like that? Hold on now. Hold that thought. If you're just watching, I'm about to cut a ribbon to put it into a Beatles microphone. It's just not the actual Beatles, but could be. These are microphones that were used in the 60s, and there's a lot of famous pictures of the Beatles. And, fuck that little one. Screw you. And these are the microphones that are still considered collectible because people associate them with the Beatles. But I'm here to tell you, they don't sound that good sometimes until you get them redone by someone that can do them. And then they sound killer. And then they're even better because you have a guitar player come in and he's like, what kind of mic you putting on there? You're like, oh, mic used by the Beatles. He's like, holy shit. And then he plays really good. So there it goes. You won. And it was then worth it for you to get this mic fixed because you have people that are stoked to be recorded by it. And then when they tell their friends, dude, I was recorded by a Beatle mic. And the guy's like, what's a Beatle mic? It's called a Reslo. Check out this picture. And like, there's John Lennon screaming in it. That was on my guitar. And he's like, what song did you play it on? I don't know, I just got a bunch of feedback, but it was cool. Okay, so now we're gonna get into the gap. Oh shoot, I put my razor blade by the magnet. No, that is a no. Oh shit, man, I tell you, man, time is moving sluggishly slow for me. I'm just, it's like I have to get myself psyched up to be like, yeah, you got it, Manny. And then at the same time, I'm like, why'd you pick the Reslo? Why did you pick the Reslo? I mean, I could have started with those newer ones. Those new ones would be a lot easier to get into and do my schnizzle my nizzle on it. But now I'm like, yeah, you get the one where you got to drop it in. It's all crazy and weird, and you got to resolder shit. It's okay. I got a good solder gun. And it's good to prep those wires so they're rock solid. And I'm going to stabilize the transducer because that thing is going to pop around not only in the mail, but if Paul's going to be using it daily, every time we handle that mic, if I don't lock in the transducer from moving around, the way that cable was sheared off, that's exactly what's going to happen again. So you got to do that. It's inevitable. That's what we do. And I mean, all of us as artists and musicians and living the dream. I'm living the dream right now. My wife wants to know what I'm doing at the studio right now. I'm living the dream. When are you coming home? After I get finished living my dream. And Mary. Thank you for my wife right now. She's Filipino. Well, she's American, but it's like me being of Mexican descent. Maybe, but no, she's born in the Philippines. I'm third generation United States, so I guess I am of Mexican descent. She's not of Filipino descent. She's pretty much cut from the core. You're Filipino. She's in America, and she's a U.S. citizen, gratefully and thankfully. Okay, so let's do this motherfucker. So it's going to be a little bit smaller on one side and a little bit bigger. Let's see if I can do that. Let's see if I can conquer this. I go to put it in. If it fucking rips the ribbon, then I have to go cut another one then and make sure I can get it till it's the right combination. I I haven't been telling too many stories because I'm just like, I'm already like fucking 95 minutes into this. Jesus, did you guys learn anything besides me talking shit? Jesus Christ. I'm sorry. Let's just apologize for everyone that's thought something exciting was going to happen. All right, so I'm going to cut this. I don't like that. I've got to get that out of there. These are really difficult because, like I said, they want to just detail. God. I don't know if this is going to be a one and done. I've been lucky. That's the only time recently I had to be stopped in my winning in the end zone touchdown celebration was. That was not coming off. Hold on. Oh man, come on. I need to buy some tools. This one mic had another set of whatever my sockets were. They didn't fit, so I had to go buy them. And if you follow the news in California, going to Home Depot is a no-no, especially being of Mexican descent. So I kind of had to just wait, and there's a Harbor Freight not too far from me, and I went in there, and they had my needs, and what's interesting about it was that it's by my house, but a block away from that, about 2 weeks earlier, I was waiting at the stoplight with my wife because she doesn't work too far from there. As I'm waiting for the stoplight, I see a white van pull in front of me. 4 armed, masked men jump out with rifles and guns, start running towards my car, and it was so fast. Like everybody thinks about what you would do. I was just like, by the time I said, "What the fuck?" They passed my car, and they tackled all these dudes that were at the liquor store drinking, that were probably day workers at the Home Depot, and they just fucking just threw them on the ground. And one guy ran away, and then the light turned green, and I drove off. And I was like, oh, fuck. And this is all my neighborhood. And it just happens. It hasn't happened recently. Not too bad. There's a Home Depot by that Home Depot that all the riots started in LA. It's like 2 blocks from my house. So all the taco people and the day workers, I see some people over there now. So they've already probably been vetted, and they're, whatever they got going on, they can go get some work. But it's a little bit deserted now in that area. But yeah, for me personally, I don't drink anyway, so I'm not gonna be hanging out there. So it was just crazy. It was just crazy. So, give me 1 second here. And that, I mean, it's hard for me to say, like, if someone doesn't live in California. I did a video on my Instagram about this where I just said this isn't really like a political view. It's just a reality. Like, if you don't live in LA and you watch the news, you swear to God the city's burning down, everything's all fucked up. Well, guess what? Nothing was wrong in LA. The riots and everything that happened in a 1 block area that's in downtown outside of Chinatown, and it's where the federal building is, and there's a few courthouses there, and it's where the ICE detention center is. So when you saw the news of all the riots and all the shit's going down, everybody's still going to McDonald's, everybody's going out, no one's hiding, no one's, hiding in place, no one's going out and buying guns because the riots are coming. It was just 2 blocks were fucked up. And if you went down there and you want to, take a chance, you could be arrested. Yeah, some cars got messed up. Yeah, some things happened, but it wasn't Los Angeles was on fire. So, but for me in my neighborhood, if you were in a, let's say, 20 people from the federal government, they rush out of the federal building and they're going to go round up people. My borough, where I live at, is literally the first bridge over out of Chinatown. So it's like really easy for them to just go, what are we going to do today? Oh, let's go Lincoln Heights. And then you got Boyle Heights. And then you got, City Terrace. And then you got, where my studio is considered ground zero East LA. So when I watch the news and I see like the agents running around, they're running around at the gas station and the CVS that's down the street from my right now where I'm at. So it's crazy, you know. There's a tamale place I love down the street. I fucking dare not walk to the tamale place because I just don't want to fucking deal with it, you know. Anyways, it's not political. It's just my life right now. That's the way I have to live. I have my passport in my jacket pocket wherever I go. I have my birth certificate, a copy of it, in my wallet. So when people talk about, how are things in your part of town? Well, my part of town is fucked because I live at ground zero for ice raids. I get my gas ground zero for ice raids. I drop off my wife at work ground zero for ice raids. And then I drive through all the ice raids and then I arrive at my studio, which is ground zero, all the ice raids in East LA. And it moves everything east of Los Angeles all the way out to Commerce, Pico Rivera. I mean, they go farther than that. But if they're just going to raid some local people and cause some trouble, I live in every one of those cities where that shit goes down. And I didn't say anything bad about anyone. I didn't say anything about that's just the reality of what's happening in the world, I have to get this out of here. Hold on. Oh, I had to remove the paper and not rip. Oh, fuck. I had to not rip the ribbon. That's the hardest part, is ripping it out of the paper. Okay, so we don't need this. And like I said, there's some people that I would tell that story and they'll be like, get real, dude. And they have their, whatever they feel about it. Whatever my feelings are about it is that I have no fucking choice, man. I have no choice but to have to deal with it because it's here where I am. And that being said, it is a little bit scary. I know I haven't talked about it, but I've been surrounded by cops and had the gun in my head. And everybody had their weapons pulled on me because I made a left-hand turn into my studio parking lot and the cops were scared. They told me, "We're scared. Do not move your hands." And I could see a flashlight come to the side of my window with a 9mm handgun at my head. And the guy says, "Slowly, take your cars." No, I already took out my keys and I put them on the dashboard. And then he says, "Roll down your window. I'm watching you." And I'm like, Jesus, man, what kind of... a smart move would have been throw my keys on the dashboard, roll down the window. So if they're going to rip you out, I guess you do it. But there's no, can you put your hands out of view and roll down some windows? I mean, it was nerve-wracking. And when the cops told me, I said, "Well, what did I do?" And this is 2 a.m. And these were sheriffs. But in my area, the sheriffs aren't technically the police of my area. They only do the metro station and the USC Medical Center. So technically I'm LAPD. And, but I was shocked because they're all sheriffs. And sheriffs, in my life of living in LA, they fuck you up when they want to fuck you up. So I was just like, oh, I'm fucked right now. But I wasn't drunk or nothing, and they come up to me, they put the gun in my head, they said, "Don't move, we've got you covered, no shit." And they asked me what was I doing there, and I said, "This is my studio," and I named off the address. It was on Main Street, and I heard one of the guys say, "There's a camera." There was a camera. I could hear in the back car going, "There's a camera right there." And because they just thought they were pulling me over into a dark parking lot, but it was literally my studio parking lot. And then after I heard one guy say there was a camera, the cop that had the gun to my head said, "It's dark and we're scared. Don't move your hands or do anything crazy." He says, "By the way, you made a left-hand turn into your studio parking lot without putting on your blinker." I kind of want to say, no fucking shit. It's 2 a.m. and no one was behind me. So I kind of messed up. I'm usually really sharp on what's going on. I had just flown in from China a few days earlier, so I was completely jet lagged. I mean, I was in China for 2 years. So that jet lag it took me 6 months to get over living in China and being on that other time zone. It's different than when I went to Europe. And when he told me like why they pulled out their guns, because they were scared, but they initially pulled me over. So it's like they see a car, it didn't put on its blinker, and then 3 cop cars come in with probably equivalent to like 6 dudes with guns. They pull me over, put all the lights on my car, and I had an old Nissan pickup that was just totally fucking like a 1986 Nissan. And they pull out all their guns, and they're scared because they can't see the parking lot's dark. And so they pull their guns on me because I made a left-hand turn without doing that. So then the cop tells me at the end of that, well, listen, we're going to let you go with a warning. Just obey the traffic signs. And they all put their guns away and they took off, and I was left in the parking lot thinking to myself, I came back to America for this? Yeah, I love the United States. I'm just saying it's just a story. If you live in these neighborhoods, which I've lived in and out of East LA since I was maybe 19 or 18, things happen. I lived on the street called Fisher near Montevilla Projects. And I had long hair back then. My son was a baby. And something had happened down the street. And I, of course, you hear things going on. I walked outside and told my son's mom to stay there with the baby. And I walk out front. I had long hair. I looked like a rocker. And the sheriffs pull up. Let's say it was like, I don't know, 6 houses down. Well, as some other sheriffs arrived, one of the sheriff jumps out of his car and looks at me. And he's like, what are you doing? I go, dude, I live here. And he goes, if I come back here and I see you standing out here, I'm going to fuck you up. And I was like, holy shit. So I just go back in the house. That's the sheriff's. I mean, yeah, that's 1994. So 94, they're going to fuck me up because I'm in front of my house. 2013, they're going to shoot me because I made a left-hand turn. And that's the reality, man. You see that crazy shit going on? It's that fast. It can escalate into something very terrible. Anyways, God, man, I just went on to fucking rant right there. See what I mean? See, I'm doing everything I can except I'm telling you horror stories because this is gonna be a horror story. Putting that motherfucker in there, Jesus. Okay, so I cut one side a little bit smaller than the other. I gotta make sure I got it right. I think that looks about right. Holy cows. Oh, all right, well, never mind. We know what we're doing. Let me get a good Q-tip. And like I said, I'm only telling you a story as being a Latino living in neighborhoods where you hear things go on. And as much as there's drugs and violence and all that stuff, normal people live in these cities and they're really wonderful. I love East LA. Where I live right now in Lincoln Heights, oh my God, the food is incredible. The people are sweet and nice. Anything you want, you can get that. I'm close to Little Tokyo. I can get the best Japanese food. I can go to Chinatown, the best Chinese food. I mean, no fucking complaints. LA is fucking amazing. But certain times, it's a no-no. Okay, let's see if I think I don't think this is gonna be long enough. Yeah, this is not, I clipped off the ends, and in doing so, I don't know if that's gonna really do it. I gotta get that longer. Even though I like this ribbon, it's sticking to the fucking board. God. Fails, just use your finger. All right, so now I know I've cut it too short. I was trying to cut it. That tells you. So I cut the ribbon to 2 inches, 2 1/4. That's a 1 inch gap. Even though I cut it at 2 1/4 and I'm just trying to get it in the ballpark, you need that little extra room. So I'm feeling like I need to cut it like 3 inches. So I'm just going to get one of my new sheets that I don't have prepared. Let's see if this one's long enough. Hold on. Even though I didn't think it would be that big of a deal, I don't have time to miscalculate and to do a bunch and be like every time I'm like wishing I had a little bit more room. So I just need to cut it like 3 inches. Give me a second. I've got to get into my reservoir of sheets here. I got to get the. I had ones that were measured out already. Hold on. Wait. There it is. So this one I had measured out for Beyer 160s, and I'll use that one because I know Beyer 160s are like 1 inch 2. I mean 1 inch is, and then I meant like 2. Okay, so I gotta make sure that I think these are 5 inches, so these got to be 2 1/2. Or is it 3? Yeah, let's see. That's about 2 1/2. I think I'm gonna make this 3 inches. I know it's a mistake what I did last time, so. And I'm actually gonna start on this side because I cut these. Is it right? On this side, we'll see. Okay, so when I cut ribbons, I'll be honest with you, if you don't know what I'm doing, this could be the most boringest fucking shit in the world. And all I can say is that all that matters right now is that Paul in England is watching this. His baby has arrived, and I'm cutting a ribbon for it. And the first attempt of one and done ends in disaster. Shameful disaster. Let's take another crack at this. I was gonna do it. We're gonna do this side. Sorry, Paul. It's like Paul. It's like so. Like no one comes. Here's the weird thing. When I cut ribbons, no one sees me cut ribbons, and I've cut all these crazy mics. So then I started doing these live things because they were fun. But then it's crazy is when I start doing a ribbon, and then someone's like, "That's my ribbon." Oh, fuck. It is, and my failures are your successes. Okay. I'm not even saying it because I've never been arrested. I've never got a DOI. I have no record at all because one, I've never taken drugs, and that was the biggest thing. When you talk about, you know, drug use in lower income, Latino and Black neighborhoods, it's not necessarily like people are bad, but the laws are written out here for failures. So they want stricter laws and longer sentences. Guess what? People get busted because they've just made it a lot harder. And then when you get busted, you're fucked. So early on, I've never been interested in that world. But when you still have a gun put to your head and you're threatened with death, when you hear about those talks where people have to tell their sons, like especially African American guys, like this is what you do when you get pulled over. I know when I get pulled over in LA, my hands are on the steering wheel. I've turned the car off. The keys are on the ignition. I may not have had time to get my insurance, but most cops now, when they pull you over, they know when you're insured or not. But I do have in my wallet my insurance card. So I do have to grab my wallet, but if I'm smart, I get pulled over, and if I make the movement of taking my wallet out, the cops are wondering, what am I doing with my hands? So it's like a catch-22. You got to think about all that stuff when you do it. It's crazy. But I worked it out somewhat because I was a courier and I was a driver. I've gotten so many. One thing I say about my record, I've got a lot of speeding tickets. So I got pulled over enough to know, like, okay, but the highway patrols, and I've never had guns pulled on me by highway patrols. I've only had guns pulled on me when I'm in my local neighborhood where I live, which is really interesting of that. I've never had highway patrol come up and just be freaked out for something, or they think you're gonna do something, which I feel bad because, you watch those videos where shit goes down. It's serious work if you are a cop. Nothing against risking your life. And when you hear bad things happen to a guy that was like ready to retire or something like that, it's just a fucking shame that that's the world we live in. But if you're on the other end, it's fucked too. Okay, so let's see if I succeeded with this one. Ooh, poochie poochie. Aren't we supposed to be talking about other things that are like fucking exciting? Let me see. Let me change the subject. What can I talk about? How about that I missed my one and done? I've already had to like miscalculate this. My schnizzles and my nizzles. So yeah, that's life in LA. At least where I live. Now I have friends that don't have to worry about that. And without saying too much, I think it'd be really obvious why they're not really worried about it. What's interesting is at the Home Depot where I live, my wife, when we were driving to work every morning at 7 a.m., she tells me, who are those people? And there's white people with bullhorns and walkie-talkies talking to each other who are going to tell someone in the walkie-talkies that ICE is raiding the Home Depot. So that's just, it's cool. Yeah, they're not worried about getting, yeah, they can still get arrested for interfering, but they're risking their own welfare to help the community, And so that's interesting how you can't really judge. And like if you're Latino and you assume something that's like racist, but then these other people are like actually helping out disfortunate people in the situation. See, I got back on the subject again. Son of a bitch. Okay. What else can we talk about? How about oh, what is ice? Ice is, okay, this is weird to say it, but before the new president, the biggest police forces in the United States, well, one would have been the military, would have been the largest. And then you can get into all the police departments and maybe highway patrols and marshals and stuff. And I don't think the federal FBI, it's big, but not that big. Well, ICE agents are mostly correctional officers that are from prisons, and they just made them the largest police force in the United States that's federalized. So when they pull you over and they're going to do some shit to you, they kind of have a free reign to do whatever they want. They can break out your windows, drag you out of a car. They're masked. They don't identify themselves, and they now have signed it where they can break into your house. So if I ran into my house, you used to have a warrant to do that and due process. There's no more due process anymore. So that's why I carry my passport. Because at that time, if an ICE agent is going to drag me to the ground, handcuff me, and fuck me up, I have to be yelling to him that I'm an American citizen. If he doesn't care, because they get paid for each individual, whether he made an error or not, he's going to get paid for how many, they call them bodies, that he captured that day. My benefit would be if there was a supervisor that would catch wind of me being taken, even though I'm an American citizen, I'd have to have that on me to prove that I'm an American citizen. So it's crazy. It's weird that's. Well, I got on the subject again. So ICE is the largest police force now in the United States. Sorry, I was doing this outside of the realm I was talking. Sorry, I'm putting this ribbon in here. My nizzles. Yes, that's what ICE is now. It's not a. I mean, now in our country, it's very popular. Like the name is being people are people talk about it, but it's signed into law of a few weeks ago, the largest police force in the United States. So there's no more fucking around anymore. Our local police, which are everywhere, are now swarmed over by the largest police force, which are considered ICE agents. So, oh my God, that's what we're doing. So every day it's a little bit, and then when I go get gas, they pick you up at gas stations. So I only pull up to gas stations when there's no one there. And like when I leave here tonight, I have to get gas. There's one I drive kind of a little bit farther, which is in an Asian neighborhood. And that's where I go get my gas. I can't get gas by my studio because there's a possibility of a lookout. And when they see someone that looks Latino, they don't have to necessarily ask you if you're American. They can just roll up, break out the windows of your car, and they take you away. And then they can worry about that later. When I get to the federal building, they'll be like, oh, he's American? Okay, you can stay the night in here, and then tomorrow we'll let you out. We're going to double check your ID. So that is what I'm talking about when I mention about the federal government doing weird shit. Hold on a second. Yeah, this one's weird because you have to kind of tweak it within these. Don't do that. These brackets. It's weird because I'm used to putting these in a magnet. Sure. So you kind of have to tune it outside the magnet. Tension, I should say. I have to make sure that's good. Alright, that's good. That's hard. So yeah, I'm putting the ribbon in this bracket without knowing if it's going to go into the magnets yet. I'm pretty positive it's gonna. But the scariest part is once I set it inside, I have to turn this upside down. And that's where it becomes a little annoying. So now, I'm going to set this down, and I can't. These fucking tough these are. This is the only thing that, like, when you do these, see, I feel like I need to put one in, and then I need to retension the other side. I'm getting ahead of myself. because the other one had this solder joint. And it's, when the alcohol dries up, it starts to come undone. It's twisting. You go over the edge like that. Okay, I get another one. I know, right? I've done one of these sides. I gotta really lock in one straight, and then I can move the other one. So I'm still not happy with where this is sitting, and that's why it's a little bit of a bitch. Left and right, even within that small area, I just feel like I don't like the way the ribbon's sitting. Magnets. Oh man. Try to lock it on one side then. Okay, so that one's the bottom, this is the top. God damn it. Holy moly. My schnizzles, my nizzles. I say, man, these are the one I was just like, really? This is the one you're gonna do? I know. Easier said than done. But I can do the tension on the other side. These are the ones that are just like, really, dude? This is the one you're gonna do? Bitch. gotta do it. Oochie poochie. After then install it without tearing it. So it's kind of like, really, dude? Okay, now that I got that in there, I need to do a little extra precaution and make sure this is gonna stay. Just stay for a little bit, please. I don't really like the way that it is anyways, but I gotta make sure it doesn't move. I gotta make sure this doesn't come off either with my fingers. Fuckers. You said you were gonna fit. Oh my god. My fingers touching the ribbon. Fucking shit. Ah. Like an, oh man, it's coming off. Fucking shit. It's like an imaginary ribbon that is just there. Okay. What we need to do now is stab your finger. Don't tear the ribbon. Shit. Man, I forgot how hard these were. My fingers, the bolts on the bottom. Talk about freaking out. I'm not out of the woods yet because I need to now do the same on the other side. And now I have a little bit of room, I hope, to adjust this one to straighten it out a bit. Oh my God, man. failure right now. I need to get that other bracket in and have it. Then at that point, I have to have my tension set. And that's the problem, because I'm only relying as long as the alcohol can keep it in there. There's nothing else that can. So I just want to make sure I got it. That's it. Oh, fuck. Motherfucker. There's a tail ending on the back, and that's just the part that's really gonna freak me out right now. I'm trying to figure out how can I deal with that. But I don't want my finger to stick to it. Oh, good. Holy shit. What to say? I don't know when that became a thing. I think being a producer since I'm being in bands since the 90s, I think it just gets you to be like, you just talk like that. Hey, away. No fucking lie. This one done. I still got another one. Fucking shit. Hands one at a time. The other screws because they're not in right. That one bolt still needs to be in there properly. to test these. Right? You gotta do it again. On the ribbon, please. That bolt, you see that one's receded in there? This one needs to be the same. So I don't have it right in there until I get it right. Now I'll show you what's right and what's wrong. That is right. Those are they're recessed in there proper. But when I did this side, that one is not in. So that tells me my schnizzle, my nizzle, I gotta do the other side. Fucking shit. I don't want to fuck up the ribbon. Whew, don't do that. To go in. There it goes. Fuck. Laying in a ribbon, but I haven't even put in the magnets yet. So don't get damaged. Holy cows. Oh my god, dude. That was... Ooh, it's a little weird. I got some room to wiggle in this, but we'll see right now. As long as it goes in the middle of the magnets, it's gonna sound good. Oh man. Okay. This is where it gets freaky. So I need to now install it upside down into this. Thank you for that dough, Paul. Paul, you're keeping me alive now. So we gotta flip it over. Super sensitive. And I have to drop the ribbon in there without catching the metal and ripping the ribbon out. Oh my god. Hold it now. If the camera goes out of view, just I'm doing my best. I gotta stand over it. I gotta get my light game going on here. Hold on. And it's gotta snap in. Make sure I got everything right. All right, it's all there. Hold it now. Because God forbid if the screws come undone and they fly in there. Poochie. That's a tough mic to do. And you know the thing is though, some people wouldn't even bother with these because they're just fucking difficult. The other ones that are hard to do are the Sures. I don't know if you would have had those like really weird Shure mics, I may not accept them because they're worse than that. And it's that whole, and the Shure mics were kind of copies of these ones, and they hadn't yet fine-tuned that easy access laying in the ribbon. So this is an SOB, and I'll add a fucking son of a bitch. I'm not done yet. I've got to screw it in. I still have to solder on the positive and the negative, and then I have to check it. And since I have two of them, I have to make sure that they're both, once I get them both done, that they have the right amount of low end and the right amount of top end. Oh my God, man, what a deal. We're like 148 minutes, dude. I mean, that's like what I tell you about. It's like when I do these mics, it's like when the astronauts get prepped, they got to sit in the spaceship for like 2 hours to 4 hours. They got to shit their pants and stuff because they can't move. I may just have to start wearing man diapers and just be like, hey man, hold on, I'm taking a shit because I can't leave the workstation. Oh my God. Double check them now. Fuck. Oh, fucking shit. I blew it. Shit. My friend and then my enemy right now because it's not right. I can't see the screws that they are. Okay. Oh my God, I almost just ripped the ribbon right now. The magnets are screaming at the ribbon to not move. I mean, the screen. As I started to lift it up, the screen was like gonna tear into the magnet. And I had to put the screen there because I don't want these screws to fly into the transducer and rip up the magnet. Solo screw, if you notice, these ones have flat heads. This one is not that round. This is the one that's on the mic. Oh my God, dude. kind of in there. Once again, and I'll be honest with you, no one showed me how to do this. This is just common sense things of like, I've done so many ribbon mics. When I have to open this up, it was the first time I was like, okay, this is weird. And then I'm like, oh fuck, what? I have to put the ribbon and install it without it even, you don't even know if it fits in the magnets. And once again, it was just like, okay, well, stop complaining, because if you're gonna make your own ribbon mic, you gotta work on all the fucking mics of the world so you can understand design. And just say, hey, I know for a fact I'd never design a mic like this. So I wouldn't have known unless I did my first Reslo, which I did a few, and I'm just like, oh my God, I forgot. But see, the thing that makes me happy about these is once these get re-ribboned, they're just fucking cool, man. Now they have a resilient ribbon inside that's kind of like a miniature Royer. And they sound good. And then when you use them, they're not going to sound old and thuddy-duddy. You can put these on acoustic guitar and actually be like, you know, oh, I love it. That Beatle mic's amazing. Well, it's been massaged a little bit. Oh, fuck. All right. That is a Reslo mic. If you remember what it looked like before, it didn't have any of that. So let's compare it. So that's what it looks like. I have the ribbon. Boy, in the ribbon graveyard. Okay, let me see if it's not been destroyed in here too. Where do you go, Mr. Ribbon? I know you're the flat one. There it is. Is that you? Yeah. So this is the original ribbon that came in. If you notice, there's nothing. It says flat. So if you can see that. Oh, fuck, where'd it go? There it goes. So this is flat. And then that one has all the little grooves in it. And that's the difference. This one is going to sound dark and dull with no detail. This one's going to give you all the detail. Holy moly. Well, we are 153 minutes in it. I think that's all I can do. Paul, I still have to solder that back into the mic body. So if you want to know what it does, so this, and also that's the one that was already kind of weird. So what I have to do now to stabilize the transducer, besides soldering it in here, this needs to fit in here. Like these little foam things are really cool because they do lock it in. This one is a little weird. That's the one that came out. So this kind of slightly moves around in there a little bit. And oh yeah, I know it's the other way around. But these foam things that are in it, this needs to be not moving. So I have some felt that with my tweezers, I may just put a little bit of felt in there to keep this stabilized from moving. The same thing happens with fucking, what are they called? So yeah, so I've got to prep that wire. And so what I'll do is I'll just solder it onto this. So I got the bottom soldered, then push the top one. Stuck it there. And then I'll solder the bottom, and then I'll solder the top, and then insert it in, close it up, and then check it and make sure I really like it. If I don't like it, rinse and repeat. And you know, I got one more to do, so practice makes perfect, and I will just get the hang of it. It's been a long time since I did one of these. So what you're looking at is the inside of a Beatles era Reslo, which you can see pictures of John Lennon and Paul McCartney screaming into these. And those were up in front of the stage. They were like, which is crazy, they would be screaming into these. But yeah, these would be vocal mics. And that's the transducer inside. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing. I can't wait to hear it. And once again, you know, if it doesn't sound up to par, this is what I do. I'll just do it again. But anyways, we got. I can't even believe I just barely got into the collection. But these are all Pauls from the UK's. And just to kind of recap, if you just joined me later on in the week, when I have time to make sure I got time, we'll be doing one of these ribbons, which are fucking incredible. And you can see the magnet in there, I think. Let me see if we can get under the light. Can you see it? A little bit. You can barely see the magnet. It's a massive magnet. Oh, yeah. Let me see if I can do this from underneath it. I'm going to put the light on you. Will this turn around? Oh, well, let me see if I can do it with this one. Okay, I don't want to drop the mic on the Reslo. Hold on. Yeah, see that? Look how crazy that is. So that's the magnet inside. We're going to work on that. That ribbon is long. It's a long ribbon. So that's coming up. And like I said, there's 2 of everything. Oh my God. My knees are just like, what are you doing to me? You have not moved in like 2 hours. Okay, hold on a second. And buyers are tough too. Buyers are really difficult. So Paul, you really threw me one here, man. I was excited to get into these, which I am. But I mean, look how, I mean, now that I have it done, it's kind of cute. I mean, that's fucking cute. Whew. Okay. Well, bottom line is, it's got to sound good. It's not even the act of doing that. Like, that has to go into the mic. I have to solder it, and then we have to listen to it. And if it doesn't fucking sound good, I'm going to do it again. And if you can, if anybody's interested, these are my favorites too, these lollipops. This is for sale. And these are Cascades. Beautiful mics. One of the best lollipops you can make. The only thing that suffers in these are the ribbons. If you get a ribbon in there, it sounds like a $1,200 microphone. I'm selling that for $6 US. Now here's the thing, that argument, you've heard me do it many times. If you buy one of those for $350 or $4, and then you pay $250 for me, you're still locking in that mic under $600. There's no mics that sound that good in that price range. Even the Voodoos are like, those are close, but that's a different type of mic. Lollipop mics sound amazing because the head basket is massive and all the sound goes around it. It's a full-figured mic. So anyways, write me in the description. Thank you guys. It's 12:17 a.m. in the morning in Los Angeles, and I have to take my wife to work at 6 a.m. So Daddy needs to sleep. You guys are awesome. Thanks for all the coffees. Thanks for all the love. Paul, we got a lot to do, man. All right, you all. Talk to you later. Thank you.